I've been following Paralives development for 7 years now, and one of the things that's consistently impressed me is just how builder-focused it feels. It really feels like the developers looked at all of the little frustrations that life sim players have had for years now and just said, what if we simply let people create what they actually want? Hello you, welcome to Geekism. With Paralives entering early access later this week and its final trailer now dropped, some of the earlier tensions that were a little high regarding the depth and implementation of the live mode, or live mode if you're a weirdo, at launch seem to have been tempered. But one thing seems certain, the creative elements of the game, the build mode and the Paramaker, which is Paralives' incredibly in-depth character creator, seem well fleshed out and fantastic foundations, pardon the pun, for further features during early access and beyond. Today I want to go through my top 10 features in Paralives build mode that I'm personally most excited for. This might genuinely be the feature that people have wanted back for years. I'm going to try my hardest to not just make this a Sims 4 comparison video, but when a feature that was previously in a version of that game only to be removed in its sequel, you can't really not mention it. It's 2026. Games with this level of creativity require a colour wheel. The ability to fully customise colours and materials opens up so much creativity because suddenly you're not stuck choosing between slightly lighter beige and slightly darker beige. You want a sage green cabinet with walnut countertops and a black handle? Done. You want entire pastel 70s apartment? Done. You want the world's ugliest carpet because your para has terrible taste? Done and done. It immediately makes builds feel more personal. Two players could use the exact same furniture item and end up with completely different aesthetics just through colour and texture choices alone. Coupled with some of the other features later in this list, it makes every piece of furniture work 10 times harder than it should. It also massively helps storytelling. Wealthy modern homes, cosy cottages, rundown rentals. Colour does such heavy lifting in making spaces feel believable. And from a completely personal point of view, I'm very colourblind, so a colour wheel along with hex codes means I can go online and find swatches that I know will work and bring those schemes into the game. No more purple and orange couch cushions. Perfect. This is one of those features that sounds small until you realise how huge it actually is. The idea that lots themselves are customizable means that neighborhoods can feel far more organic and realistic, instead of every home existing on perfectly identical, huge expanses of land. These larger separated lots may work perfectly well for North American suburbia, but the rest of the world is built very differently. Give me the terraced housing of urban Britain, the flowered-covered Juliet balconies of Paris, or the communal eco-villages of southern Europe, all much more possible with custom lots, shapes and sizes. You can create narrow city lots, sprawling countryside properties, awkward corner plots, all the stuff that makes real towns feel interesting. And honestly, I think this is going to be incredible for builders who enjoy creating worlds with a specific identity. You can really shape the flow of an area instead of just fighting against preset dimensions. Terrain tools are absolutely essential in a life sim. Flat worlds can start to feel very artificial after a while. It's something I personally do struggle with across various games. I can often get stuck building on flat land because it's just easier, but I'm hoping the way that these tools are implemented in Paralives will help me be a bit more creative in that regard. Even subtle elevation changes make builds feel more natural and lived in. Little hills, sunken gardens, little stroke driveways. It adds so much visual interest. And from what we've seen, Paralives seems to really embrace creativity here instead of treating terrain like an afterthought. The way that terrain elevation can butt up against walls and interior flooring will stop grass, etc. peeking through shows a great deal of care has gone into this feature. I personally think the edges of the terrain paints looked a little harsh and would like to see a density slider allowing the various grasses to blend a bit better, but in the most recent trailer that dropped about an hour ago at time of recording this voiceover, that all does look a little bit more subtle. Perhaps we'll even see more customizability there as development continues. The lack of a grid, or at least a grid that you don't have to stick to, is such a plus for me in games these days. There's a reason why some of the games I've sank the most hours into over the last few years have been gridless builders. They create a much more grounded, natural and realistic aesthetic that just scratches a kind of brain itch that I have. Now, a game that's focused on property is going to require a grid. Most homes are fairly formulaic in their construction, with the interior and exterior decor being the thing that gives them their character. But the ability to easily make walls curved, take walls away from 90-degree angles and 1 meter wide sizings is going to allow for much more creative freedom. From beautiful subtle feature pieces like little reading nooks or breakfast corners to fully crazy rounded builds like those 3D printed houses that we're seeing pop up recently. Now builds can have actual architectural personality, and this is going to completely transform community creations because people won't be limited to square room after square room anymore. We're probably going to see some absolutely wild designs. Being able to easily create split-level interiors, such as raised dining areas or sunken living rooms, just gives a home dimension. These aren't particularly common features by any means, but as a huge fan of mid-century modern aesthetic, I personally can't wait to build a grooving area. While these features are possible in other live sims, they often require awkward workarounds, but looking at the build mode footage released from the devs, Paralives will allow creation of these subtle elevation changes with ease and purpose. And dimension is really the key word with Paralives build mode overall. So many of these features seem designed to make homes feel layered and dynamic instead of flat and repetitive. Before we carry on with the list, if you're enjoying this video so far and you're excited for Paralives as much as I am, please take a moment to give the video a big ol' thumbs up or a hype if you're a modern wonder and know what that means, because I don't. We'll be covering Paralives a ton when it comes out. I've already got plans for many awesome build videos, so if you're not already, consider subscribing so you don't miss a single one. That's the dirty YouTuber stuff out of the way. Let's carry on. Real homes are messy, some more than others, but outside of the perfect show homes on the cover of Architectural Digest, homes have stuff in them. Pretty stuff, functional stuff, dirty stuff. It all layers up to create believable spaces. And free placement means you can finally decorate spaces naturally and simply, instead of wrestling with snapping systems that refuse to cooperate or using hacks to place items at different heights or depths. You can angle furniture properly, place clutter where it actually looks believable, create asymmetrical layouts, all of these tiny details that make homes feel genuine and lived in. Because real homes are messy, they're imperfect, chairs aren't always perfectly aligned to their table, plants get shoved into awkward corners, coffee tables are slightly off-centre. Paralives let players embrace that realism. This one sounds oddly specific, but builders know how important this can be. The ability to sync objects into surfaces or terrain unlocks so many creative tricks. Custom gardens, built-in patio furniture, realistic clutter, ponds, hidden lighting. Builders are basically going to become magicians with this tool. And one of my favourite things in sandbox games is when players start to use tools in ways that developers probably never even anticipated. I feel like this feature is going to lead to a lot of that. I'll quickly tell you a story about the development of Planet Coaster, a theme park simulator by Frontier. It has lots of similar freedom with its scenery and items. Developers watched an early alpha video from content creator Silverette, who took a lamppost, turned it upside down, and sunk it into a wall to create some detail, a hook or a gable or something, I forget, but it completely blew the devs' minds. They didn't expect or imagine players to use tools that they were given to completely reshape how items were used. Since then, they've developed the series and created items for it with the knowledge that players will use these things as building blocks, turning, twisting, scaling, and syncing them to create new and wonderful creations. I can see this feature in Paralives being used to create similar organic marvels. Okay, this one is massive, or tiny, or normal sized. Smooth object scaling means you're no longer relying on a handful of predetermined object sizes. If something's slightly too big or too small, you can just adjust it. Scaling along with full colour options can make even a simple desk lamp become half a dozen different lamps. I'm interested to see how scaling affects object interactions with the paras themselves. Probably means we'll get a lot more generic interaction animations that don't really connect with the item. Perhaps that's acceptable as a compromise. For me as a builder it is, as I mostly create sort of vignettes without much intention to add paras, but for more live mode focused players the interactivity may be more important than the freedom of scale. Time will tell. Now scaling an item up or down is one thing, but the customizable scaling of furniture is just next level. Swapping which side of the desk has drawers, dragging a couch from 2 to 3 seats, pulling a single bed up into a captain bed. The modular nature of furniture is something I've never seen in a game like this. This single kitchen cupboard has 3 drawer configurations, 5 different handles, 6 different cabinet and counter finishes. Ignoring the practically infinite colour options, that's over 500 different combinations, and that's from one single cabinet, and this clip is 6 years old. Who knows how many other options they've implemented since then. It's really exciting stuff. Being able to import your own images into the game is a really neat feature with a lot of possibilities. The obvious uses include importing custom or famous artworks to add to walls, or screen grabs of your paras to make family photos and collages, travel photography, children's drawings. Suddenly houses become homes with memories instead of just decorated spaces. And we've seen that custom images can be used on cushions, walls and floors too, opening up endless options for wallpaper, flooring and decor. How about a live, laugh, love cushion on that couch for your middle-aged lush para, or turning a picture frame into a smart home panel showing weather and upcoming family plans. A little bit of work in Photoshop or scouring the internet for suitable images will help really flesh out builds with realistic details that might be trickier to do with just in-game options. So overall, what excites me most about Paralives build mode is it feels incredibly creative first. So many of these tools aren't just about convenience, they're giving players freedom to experiment, to tell stories visually, and to create homes that actually feel unique. And honestly, if the final game delivers on even half of the potential we've seen so far, we're going to see years of fun from a new staple in the life sim genre. I for one am very excited, I hope you are too. Thanks for watching, until the next one. Be good.